Ask Reddit by says I who NTR 69420. What is your secret that you can't tell anyone because it will probably ruin your life? I don't give my best at work because I don't care anymore. I used to give them 100% and nobody noticed and only focused on the small mistakes I made. Now I'd give 40-50% and my manager keeps bugging me why my performance has dropped compared to before. I simply don't care. The salary is fine compared to the country's standard, but in this field of work is on the lower end of the chart. I don't care. I'm overworked and underpaid. By industry standard, not countrywide standard. I find it incredibly difficult to care about absolutely anything. Gotta fake it just enough so that people will interact with me. I see depression being mentioned, which is definitely possible, but I also wanted to mention that adults who had childhood emotional neglect can look like this. A few cases from the book Running on Empty talked about it. My brother is the product of rape. My mom told me. I don't know if she told him. She's passed away now. I found out recently that I was a product of rape. It definitely sucks to have that knowledge. I wouldn't wish it on anyone. Please don't tell him. I found out I had a half brother from dad, and the only reason I found out about it was because he had leukemia, and they thought I'd be a match for a blood marrow transfusion. After fleeing domestic violence and trying to make a new life, I was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer. I'm fighting it, but I'm just so tired of life. My last baby turns 18 this week and I feel like I've done all I'm supposed to. I'm sick of being strong for everyone else when all I want to do is go. I'm just so damn tired. Edit. Wow. Woke up this morning to this blowing up. I can't thank everyone enough for the kind comments, messages and overall support. I have somewhat a better outlook on things, at least for today anyway, suppose just one day at a time. I wish I could bless you all with awards and thanks, but for now upvotes will have to do. Thanks again, you don't know how much your kind words and thoughts mean to me. My uncle beat cancer 3 times. When it came around the 4th time he said fuck it, lived his best life until he ran out of time. You are entitled to that decision. I have automated the main part of my job and get paid to essentially just show up. Good for you. As a teenager I was paid grown-up money for a summer job because I could maintain patient databases for a hospital better than they could. I watched them manually manipulate the Excel database, yep, during my training, then wrote a macro to do what they'd shown me. Luckily the database was enormous and the computer was terrible, so it took literally hours to run. Best job I ever had. That. They were amazed at how much I could achieve, and the only way they could pay me what they felt I was worth was to stick me on as a contractor, specifically a guest lecturer in epidemiology and public health. Which came in handy years later when I'd express opinions on COVID. I did tell my supervisor, who was happy enough. She said she had the budget approved and the work was getting done, and if I could train them when I left then everyone wins. She asked me to see if there were other things they may be able to automate or to help out with actual research. 20 plus years later and I'm still talking to companies about automating basic processes. There are still people out there in senior positions who still think Excel is just a way to present tables. I left my job at an electronics manufacturing company in 2002. But they continued paying me my full salary, including all incremental raises and annual bonus, until they offered me a very generous redundancy package in 2022 due to departmental restructuring, including an £85,000 lump sum contribution to my pension fund. I even got the quarterly magazine and annual Christmas card sent to me. In March of this year, 2023, I got an invite to the 75th anniversary of the company, went along, had a great time at the free bar, and nobody realized I hadn't worked there for over 20 years. You've got to love a good administrative error. Maybe edit your post and remove the dates and info, bro. Don't want anyone finding out. I have a bad back and from time to time it goes into a full spasm. One day I was getting out of bed, and as my foot hit the floor I went into a full spasm. I have no idea how, but a perfectly formed turd fell out the leg of my shorts and landed on the floor. Due to my spasm, I fell and landed right in the poop. The commotion woke up my GF at the time, and she ran over to check on me. I blamed the dog. I've never actually told anyone this before. Oh no. Babe, come here. Someone shit in my pants. My non-bio grandfather sexually abused me. He's in a care home with severe Alzheimer's now. Still processing it all tbh. Only my partner knows. Tried to tell my mum and she acted as if it was a normal thing to have happen to a 5-year-old kid. Hey, I have that same beef. When I was 5 my neighbor tried to touch my privates. I ran home and told my mom. She just looked at me and said you better stay away from him and went right on making dinner. Well, the truth is my entire childhood was spent running from that old perv. He lived next door my whole childhood. Always ready to torment me. He and my dad were best buddies. I'm 64 and still feel like I reported something to an adult and was thrown under the bus. That I don't really have imposter syndrome. I'm actually a fraud. A fellow developer, I see. The story everyone knows is my boyfriend and I voluntarily left our place of work because our relationship went against policy, and we valued our relationship more than our crappy jobs. The truth is we got caught fucking in my car before work, and left in order to avoid repercussions. Sounds like the story you tell everyone is technically the truth. I once jacked off to a picture of George W. Bush's bulge when I was like 12. Might be the darkest secret I've read so far. First time I beat off was to a Dr. Seuss book, Oh the Places You'll Go. Go to the page with the waiting place. Far left side of the left page. There's a woman holding skis and you can see the outline of her boobs. I know exactly where it is because I'm almost 40 now and it's my 3-year-old son's favorite book. I hid the extent of my alcoholism from everyone since I was 15. I'm now 35 and 8 weeks sober. No one knows I'm sober now as they've never known I had an alcohol issue. This is me. I'm 27 and 95 days sober. No one in my life knows the extent of the drinking I did prior to getting pregnant in March. I plan to stay sober for my son when he is born and never go back to the place of hiding my alcoholism. Congratulations on 2 months sober. That's huge and incredible. All my passwords are the same word with different combinations of numbers and punctuation marks. 1234. 1234. 1234. 1234. 1234. 1234. etc. The worst thing about this is it's still hard to remember what password goes with what ESP for accounts you don't use that much. Where do I get one of these jobs where no one including myself knows what I do and I get paid $120k a year for it and get promoted every 2 years? Deleted. Disability is such a joke. There's no way to live off of it unless you have family willing to let you stay with them and pay some of your bills. I think I'm not as nice as people believe I am. I am just acting according to social norms when in reality everything outside my home makes me feel tired and drained. That actually means you're nice. It probably means you're nicer than the average nice person, really. I dated a well-loved content creator who is a narcissist, stalker, extortionist, and pedophile. If I were to ever talk about it in a meaningful way, he would absolutely go after me, and he already has tried. He has had exes come out against him in the past with very legitimate evidence like police reports, recorded calls, etc. But he weaponizes his audience, and the audience of his friends, we are talking millions, to send harassment brigades against anyone who talks about it. That doesn't even begin to touch how he also has his other YouTuber buddies watch and document everything posted on Instagram by people he doesn't like. Admission? One of my closest family members offered me sex during one of the most mentally unstable times of his life. I wasn't interested, nothing else happened, and the topic never came up again. One of the main reasons why I haven't brought it up in family is because his marriage is already unstable and I don't intend to make it worse. Deleted. I fall asleep every night in horror because my former best friend and I haven't talked in 3 years because for her 21st birthday we both got massively blackout drunk and smoked. I have no idea what happened that night. But she's never answered a message I've sent since. Out of all the things I read so far, which is a lot, this is the only one that got any kind of reaction out of me other than the man with dementia afraid to speak. I contemplate suicide daily, but my wife and daughter keep me going strong. Edit. Thank you all. I have a good helpline in person for me to talk with, and an even larger helpline online here with y'all. Thank you. Each day is a struggle, but keep going for those that I love. While I am genuinely happy to meet you, I have no intention of remembering your name until we interact at least 3 or 4 more times. It's not even about intention. My brain just doesn't work that way. When people whom I've only met once remember my name, I'm genuinely flawed. I just love how all of the stories here are either on the 3rd of September at 2:37 AM I went to a truck stop and murdered someone in the bathroom, or my homemade cookies aren't homemade. Yeah, who knew people have this much guilt about whether they make or buy cookies? Deleted. Deleted. I was once at a party for my nephew's birthday and really had to go. I noticed they had a basement bathroom. So while cake was being served, I dropped a deuce that could peel paint. I was able to sneak in out without anyone noticing. Fast forward to after the party and Michael and Bill were complaining about 2 other family members clogging the upstairs bathroom and stinking up the basement. They complained that the smell lasted for days after that and it had to be professionally cleaned. To this day, they blame the other couple to the point that they get angry discussing the topic. TLDR. I'm a mystery pooper. You're a party pooper. I stopped working at work 1 year back. I have no idea what the fuck they want from me because I watch 12 hours of shows on my laptop and work for 30 minutes a day by attending a team huddle and staying on mute. 3-4 years ago I was responsible for providing a few reports to different teams. Each month I'd generate the reports, formatted in a presentable way for the team managers I was sending them to, and send them over. Nobody ever said anything about them, never a question about the data or even a reply to my email. So one month I just decided I wasn't going to send them, and then it turned into 2 months and 3 months. Nobody ever said a word about it, so I just stopped doing it. Got promoted the following year. I play most video games on easy mode. Then brag about how I'm so good to my wife who doesn't know about games. My husband plays sandbox style in games that are absolutely not designed to do that. The amount of time he spent not going on missions but instead petting horses and admiring art is hilarious. I won the lotto. Haven't told anyone or changed my lifestyle. I'm still going to finish my degree in data science, so I can say my money is from a new job. And X200B. Edit. Thank you for the kind words. To answer some questions. Winnings just surpassed the 8-figure mark. $10 on QuickBooks. Why would a DS play the lotto? Well, I'm not one yet, but just for shits and giggles every once in a while. Yes, I know the odds. But that 0.000000024% chance could be you, haha. That data science job must pay super good for our son. He just got his first check and purchased a $30 million home in cash. While addicted to meth, I accidentally got caught up working for an artsy gang in my hometown. They were just having me smurf and collect money for them, but by the time I realized what they were all about, they weren't about to let me just stop working. So I kept doing it until I was able to leave my hometown and make it out to Tampa. The things I got involved in while working with them could put me in prison for 20 years. Most of my family think I lived a pretty normal junkie life back then, but they have no idea how easy it is to get involved with big name dealers in a town with such a high cartel presence. What is smurfing? I hate to say this, but I don't see myself as a doctor in the future. But I can't say anything about it because my mom already supported me financially. It's too late to back out. I've seen lots of people with MDs go on to medicine adjacent work. Find what interests you and then figure out how to incorporate your education into the new thing if possible. For example, MD that works in a research institute doing medical ethics work. Some people go more into business side of things. I think there are more options than bedside doctoring, is what I'm saying. I've struggled with suicidal depression for over 20 years. While my psychiatrist is aware of my depression, I can't reveal quite how bad it is because I don't want, nor can I afford, to be sent to the hospital. My childhood friend has 2 siblings that he doesn't know exist. They're twins, around 2 years old now. I promised to keep it a secret. My dad and his dad are close friends. My dad is quite the gossip, and spilled every last detail to me. Apparently their father, handsome, tall, a sports prodigy, slept with a doctor who lied about being on birth control so that she could give birth to his children, who she claimed had superior genetics. She was his former doctor who pulled up his private records in order to score a date with him as she had all his contact info at hand. Never wanted child support or even a father in her kids' lives, just an involuntary sperm donor. Very weird. Once after a hookup, a chick asked me if I would donate my sperm because I'm handsome and she wanted to be a single mother and I wouldn't be legally bounded or anything. I just laughed, made an excuse to leave, grabbed my condom from the trash and left. Upses I use RS credit to harvest blackmail material. I'm a writer for BuzzFeed. It's kinda cute when this type of questions appear and people tell their innocent irrelevant secrets like I don't bake. I really envy them. Some people are like, I've tried to kill myself many times now, and others are I don't make homemade eggnog. I don't have any. I am incapable of keeping my mouth shut. I have found my people. I was in a war and killed a man from my army because he was a rapist. Thank you for your service. I lied on my job application. I do not have a college degree. I do not actually have experience in finance. They hired me anyway and paid for me to get my Series 65 and I am now a financial advisor for a major bank. BTW, I hate this job. My grandfather used to do this. He started out sharpening lawnmower blades at a country club in Chicago in the 1930s and ended up working as a machinist building the Apollo command module. He told me if they ask you if you can do X or work with machine Y, say yes. Let them prove you wrong because the worst that can happen is they fire you. And he was right. Working in Spain on a restaurant bar on the beach, there was a regular that kinda looked like someone that was theoretically dead. The dead guy was a South American cartel boss that commits suicide by blasting his face with a shotgun, so he was recognized by his shoes. So I can't confirm anything and I'm sure as hell I was not going to ask him, but one afternoon I'm serving and this guy is seating close to me. One of the other servers was heading out and I called him, raising my voice, and this guy's, the cartel boss, turned around. I pretended not noticing and called the other server again and started walking towards the door because, just out of chance, the server's name was the same name the cartel boss had originally. Some 10 minutes later the guy paid and left and never returned. How sure am I it was the dead cartel boss? I say 90%, but I was not going to take that chance. You can't trick me into ruining my life. But, imagine the upvotes. I pretend to be the most highly certified, well experienced endpoint specialist in the world. Really, I'm just the best Googler available. My 54-year-old secret would ruin several lives. My childhood best friend's little brother is actually my son, and his children are my grandchildren. Edit. Forget DNA. I'm also related. Already donated stem cell. No problem. WTF? Am I reading this correctly? I bullied a kid in 2nd grade because he was mean to me one time. Like every day bullied him, went out of my way to make his life suck. Got my friends to join in with me. Turns out the kid was only mean because he was going through a lot at home. Suddenly I noticed he wasn't at school anymore for a week or so. An announcement came on one morning over the school PA system asking for a moment of silence. Turns out this kid's mother's boyfriend beat him so badly that he fell into a coma, died a week later. I have always felt a deep amount of shame for this. Also, my father killed someone when I was 5. Brutal crime. Beat the person to death over a road rage incident. Barely did any time for it. Not something I like to talk about or ever bring up in public. Very ashamed of it. I have continued to use the Reddit app during the blackout period. You are history's worst monster. Deleted. I'm totally burnt out and I just can't anymore. Same. It's gotten so bad that I was relieved to know that I have a health issue which will require a surgery. Because now I can be alone doing nothing for 2 weeks. My interactions with people is almost 90% scripted just to fit in certain situations. I just picked up habits and routines of the people around me that I've noticed that work to be successful in human interaction. I don't care about anything and barely about anyone else. I enjoy company, but I don't need it. I do have friends and family around me, but I don't have a need for them in particular. Might be an undiagnosed psycho or something, but I do feel certain feelings. I wouldn't get good jobs or would not have friends if I acted my natural self. Probably would have been disowned by family. Even a throwaway anonymous account is not that strong. Sorry. Throwaway because I don't want to get doxxed. Allow me to share a hyper-specific story that happened very recently and would be recognizable to anyone involved. Lol, I have lied my way into a job. I only do half of what I am supposed to do and have won awards for it despite being 100% full of shit. Most of this job is built on reputation and being able to inspire and engage people, and I am 100% not who I say I am in my job. In my real life I am an absolute pushover who is actually desperately unhappy in my own life but have no drive or confidence to change anything, but I teach people daily how to do just that. I have the world record for Bop It Extreme. But it's because my machine broke and said flick it over and over. So I flicked it 1,307,562 times. How about you go first on this one?